Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chani Maleki, and thank you for coming. I'll be emceeing today. Okay, so quite a few parents told us that if we're already pulling them out of home with kids, trying to put the kids to sleep, and on a rainy day, what they don't want to come for is an evening of hiserus. No one wants to come on a rainy night to be inspired. What people wanted to hear tonight was tachlis, how do we make Tzivos Hashem work for our family? So we are going to try to keep the inspiration to a minimum. We'll do our best not to inspire anybody over here tonight, and instead to really explain to you how Tzivos Hashem, Chayali Tzivos Hashem, can be used as a tool for us as parents to create a incredible atmosphere in our home, an atmosphere where our kids are excited to participate in Yiddishkeit. They're excited about their hiskashrus with the Rebbe and with Chassidus, and where they are excited to grow both Begashmias and Beruchnias. So who is today's event for? If you're a parent who has a child who doesn't like to do what he is told all the time. In other words, Shabbos davening, you take him to shul, you know he davens well in school, but on Shabbos davening, he doesn't like to stay in shul. Or when it's time to say brachas or Kriya Shema, he doesn't like to do it. Then this evening is for you. If you're a parent who sometimes when you tell your kids to do something, you tell them to clean their toys, or you tell them it's time to go to bed, or you tell them to eat their dinner, and they don't listen all the time, then this evening will help you. If you're a parent who wants to give your children a koch in Yiddishkeit, a koch in Chassidus, but you have a hard time doing it because you don't feel the koch yourself, or you feel the koch, but you don't know how to translate it, how to give it over to your children, then this evening is for you. If you're a parent who appreciates what the schools do, but feel that there's so much more room because the schools are so good at their academics and getting kids disciplined, but sometimes they maybe need a little bit more help in teaching Avas Hashem and giving the passion of Yiddishkeit to the children. If you would like a little bit of help with that and you think there can be an improvement in that, then this evening is for you. And of course, if you're a parent who wants to see your children grow and wants to see your family grow and you want to see yourself grow, Beruchnias, then this evening is for you. So I'd like to, before I hand off the microphone, just tell you a short story that I heard yesterday that will explain the power of what we're going to show you tonight. It was a couple of decades ago, and Rabbi Binyaminson, Yerachmiel Binyaminson, who's the head of Tzivos Hashem, gets a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. The phone's ringing and ringing. He doesn't pick it up until finally he realizes that this must be something urgent. So he jumps out of bed, he picks up the phone. Hello, it's Rabbi Chadakov. And Rabbi Chadakov immediately asks him, there's a certain girl, and I need to know if she's in Tzivos Hashem, if she's enrolled in Tzivos Hashem. And he continues and says, if she's not enrolled in Tzivos Hashem, sign her up immediately. And if she is enrolled in Tzivos Hashem, she needs to have a promotion, give her a promotion. So of course, Rabbi Binyaminson runs out immediately to the office. In those days, they didn't have a computer system, so everything was on index cards, and he shuffles through the index cards, and he does find her name. She was enrolled in Tzivos Hashem. And so what he does is he takes a pen, this was the system they used, and he crosses out private, and he circles sergeant. And that was the promotion. She was promoted. And he went back home. So a couple of days later, he's in 770, and Rabbi Chadakov comes up to him, and he says, you're probably wondering about this phone call. So Rabbi Binyaminson says, of course I'm wondering. I didn't want to ask anything. So Rabbi Chadakov says, but I'm going to tell you, because as the head of Tzivos Hashem, you should understand the power of Tzivos Hashem. He says that what happened is that the Maskiris got a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and her mother was terrified and crying and saying that something had suddenly happened to her daughter, and the doctors were giving her just hours to live. And they wanted a bracha and advice from the Rebbe. They ran into the Rebbe, who was doing Yechidus that night, and the Rebbe asked, Rabbi Chadakov, he asked him, is she part of Tzivos Hashem? If not, sign her up. And if yes, give her a promotion. And that was it. And Rabbi Chadakov then says to Rabbi Binyaminson, and I want you to know that a couple of hours ago, we got a phone call from the mother that she's about to take her child home from the hospital. And that just gives you a just small insight into the power of Tzivos Hashem. It's not just a fun and effective program to get our kids inspired and to get them to do the things that we want them to do and the things that they should be doing. It's much, much, much more than that. The army of Hashem, the Tzivos Hashem, and what we're doing here, what the Shimi and his team is doing here with Chayalei Tzivos Hashem, is something that is nogea to the ruchnius and even to the gashmius of each and every child. Every rank that they move removes things for them, begashmius and beruchnius, on an amazing level. And with this, I'd like to let you hear it in the Rebbe's word for just a minute.
Wie hier rotzen der Rebbe soll matzlich sein, jeder und jeder sei a Ingel, jeder Ingele, und jeder Mädele, a jeder private, einfacher Soldier, soll werden a Sergeant mit einem Offizier, und jeder Sergeant und Offizier soll auswachsen und werden a General, und jeder General soll werden a General mit a Sach Stars, mit Onashir Eiszeichnungen in den Darges von General Gufo und alle zusammen gehen Bekore, Kabul Ponim sein, den größten General von Bnei Yoda, wo das der Melech mit Beis Dovi, was im Yilchim Yilchemes Hashem ve'yinatzeyach, David Malke Meshiche, ויקבל יבנה ביס המקדש במקיימה, ויקבץ נדחי ישראל, והויסה להשם המלוכה.
Okay, so before we start, I'd just like to do a small exercise with everybody here, and I'm asking everybody to please participate. We're going to do a word association. So I'm going to say one word, and I'd like everybody to immediately think of the first emotion that comes to your mind. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. Whatever is the first emotion that comes to your mind, just grab it and hold it there. So for example, if I say sunshine, you might say happiness, freedom, it could be relaxation. So here it is, okay? And we'll ask for some volunteers, we'll see the answers we get. The word is, okay, just think about it for a second. Let's stick with this first emotion you think of, Kabbalas Ol. The first thing that sinks into your heart, the emotion that you have in your heart when we say the word Kabbalas Ol. Does anyone want to say what they're thinking of? I didn't think so. Any volunteers? Okay, so we did this exercise last night in the JCM in Shimi's office. We tried it out. And the first thing that I felt was stress. I felt that Kabbalas Ol, to me, the first thing that I think of, I'm not asking for a Hasidic taich and what it should mean or what Hasidus says it means. What is the emotion that it elicits in me is stress. I feel zukvetched, that I don't have any freedom, that I'm being told what to do, mindless. That's the emotion of Kabbalas Ol, and I believe, maybe not everyone here, that that's kind of what we feel when we think of Kabbalas Ol. We think that Kabbalas Ol means that I'm an animal and I have a yoke on my head and I'm just doing what I'm doing mindlessly and I don't have any passion and I don't have any ownership of my own life. Now, how crazy is that? Because we know that Kabbalas Ol is the cornerstone of Chassidus. The Rebbe explains that the number one avodah of our generation is Kabbalas Ol. How could it be that we are training our children to have this emotion of stress, zukvetched, to feel mindless, that when we think of Kabbalas Ol, they feel forced? Imagine that Kabbalas Ol could mean something else. Imagine that we trained our children a little bit differently, and that when we ask them this question in a couple of years' time, the answers that they think of are freedom, success, accomplishment, goals that I met, openness, greatness, just feeling like the king. Imagine that's what Kabbalas Ol elicits in us. Because the truth of the matter is that is what Kabbalas Ol is all about. And that is exactly what the program of Chayalei Tzivos Hashem is coming to try to do. It's what we're trying to instill in the children. And there's nobody better to explain this than the head of Tzivos Hashem, Shimi Weinbaum. Rabbi Shimi Weinbaum, I'd like to invite him to the stage to explain how the system works and how we as parents can use this as tools to improve our children's lives, our family lives, and I guess the whole world.
It's beautiful to see a packed house. Thank you all for coming. This shows on your incredible dedication to the chinuch of your children. I think that all of you here really deserve a big round of applause. We live in challenging times. Our students have not had the zchus to hear or see the Rebbe. In fact, many of our teachers, the younger teachers, didn't have that zchus either. In addition, our children are constantly being bombarded by stimulation. Their attention is often taken by more exciting games and screens than we can compete with. We live in a time when children don't always feel that the Torah that they're learning is relevant to their lives. Some of our children seem to be allergic to discipline. Our children today, more than ever, lack a sense of accountability, belonging, commitment, discipline, direction, identity, motivation, pride, passion, and purpose. In addition to the challenges our children have, as parents, many of us are overworked. In fact, in many families, both parents need to work in order to cover their bills. Our time is extremely limited, and we do our absolute best, but we can't always say that we're consistent. Many of us take day by day and don't have a structured plan for our children's chinuch. The question I ask you tonight is, does it have to be this way? And the answer is, with tremendous thanks to Rabbi Moshe Kotlarski from America's Yonei Chinuch, Rabbi Yerchmiel Ben Yametson from Tzivos Hashem headquarters, with tremendous thanks to the principals and base commanders of the teachers of Crown Heights, with even greater thanks to you, the parents, the answer is no. We would like you to meet Tzivos Hashem, where children become committed soldiers, where children are self-driven, highly motivated to take on goals that need incredible discipline. They are filled with pride, passion, and purpose. Meet Tzivos Hashem, where imagination becomes reality. This is reality. This week, we are sending out 25,451 medals to your children. You're clapping. You have no clue what a medal is. If you would find out, let's see how you clap at the end of this program. 4,631 promotions. The children truly get it. The problem is, as tonight, the parents have been left in the dark. So our agenda for tonight is to change that, is to make sure that the parents truly understand the incredible system that the Rebbe introduced. We want you tonight to learn about the unbelievable resources that are available to you as parents. And we want you to feel the unbelievable impact that Tzivos Hashem can and will have on your children. So tonight, being that the entire system was based on this letter, we will go back to the root of where we started. This is a letter that the Rebbe wrote to an educator who challenged the Rebbe when he started Tzivos Hashem. He argued that it was against the entire Torah. For Torah is darcher darchei noyam, v'chol nisaveseh shalom, its ways of peace and tranquility. And this is an army that teaches children to fight. And the Rebbe addressed this educator by saying, I'm sure you understand there's a need for motivation. But the Rebbe went on to say that in my opinion, the root challenge of today's youth is the lack of Kabbalas El Malchus Shamayim. And when I say that, I don't just mean accepting the yoke of heaven. The root challenge of today's youth is they don't even accept the authority of their parents and teachers. Could you imagine? This was written 35 years ago. I thought I was a tatala back then. But the Rebbe foresaw this root challenge. Not only did he foresaw the challenge, the Rebbe continued to write in this letter that American children are brought up on the spirit of independence and freedom, and on the glorification of personal prowess and smartness. And this, writes the Rebbe, has cultivated a sense of self-assurance to the extent that one who's bent on mischief or antisocial activity feels that he can outsmart the cop on the beat and the judge on the bench. Now, the Rebbe didn't just do what doctors do, identify the problem. He also came up with the solution. And again, to quote the Rebbe's words, since, as mentioned, the root problem is the lack of Kabbalas El, listen to these words. I thought long and hard, writes the Rebbe, about finding a way of inducing an American child to actually get used to the idea of subordination to a higher authority, despite the influences to the contrary in school, in the street, and even at home, where parents, not wishing to be bothered by their children, have all too often abdicated their authority to others. And here comes the crux of the letter. I came to the conclusion, these are the Rebbe's words, there is no other way than trying to effect the basic change in a boy's nature through a system of discipline and obedience to rules that he can get accustomed to. But there was one catch. If you're dealing with children that don't accept authority, then how are you going to get them used to a system of rules? And here was the Rebbe's brilliance, where the Rebbe gives the answer. This has to be a system that is it should be freely and readily accepted without coercion. So just in summation of the Rebbe's letter, he identifies the root challenge is Kabbalas El, accepting authority, discipline. And the solution has two parts. Part number one, there has to be a system of discipline. But for this to work, the child needs to accept it upon himself. We need to have incredible motivation. So the child will want to be disciplined, self-disciplined, and accept this system of discipline upon themselves. Now, where in the world do you find a place where there's a system of discipline that somebody will actually accept upon themselves? And the answer is, of course, the army. And the Rebbe turned to the children and asked them to do exactly that, to volunteer, to join Hashem's army, to accept upon themselves Oil Malchus Shamayim, the authority of Hashem as their commander-in-chief, the Rebbe as their general, their parents and teachers as their commanders. And Tzivos Hashem, just 10 years ago, was restructured based on this letter, to accomplish exactly what the Rebbe said, to create a system of discipline together with an incredible motivational system and unbelievable training. Now the question is, how long is this training going to be? And the answer is, of course, like every army, when the army has an army base, and they have commanders that train their children, we too have an army base. We're in it right now. Chinuch, the schools where we train. Chinuch means training. We train the soldiers. And of course, the other part of the army base, at home, where our parents train their children. And this chinuch really starts at birth. But in the school system, it starts in pre-1A. And this continues for 8 long years till the bar and bas mitzvah. And this we are guaranteed by Chazal, Chanech lanar al pi darkei gam ki yaskin liyasem imenu. When you train them properly for these 8 years, it will stick with them for the rest of their lives. And that's what the program was designed to do, to grow with each and every child, to build in them strong habits that grow with them and ultimately remaining with them for the rest of their life. After 8 years of dedicated service in Hashem's army, soldiers will learn what it means to have Kabbalas Ol, and they will stay committed to what Hashem wants. So we know the age span, 8 years. Now, in which areas are we trying to train the children? And the answer is in each and every area of the child's life. Now I want you to imagine, just imagine this. If your children would learn with you each and every single week and help you out at home, they would keep their body healthy. They woke up and went to sleep like a chayil. They learned chitas daily. They were mekusher to the Rebbe. They were connected through learning the Rebbe's siches, fulfilling the Rebbe's heirais, hearing stories, watching videos. They went on mivsayim. They learned and sung nigunim. They learned all the 613 mitzvahs, and they studied their daily sefer ha-mitzvahs. They learned Tanya and Mishnayos Baal Peh. They davened with kavana each day. They said Tehillim on Shabbos Mevarchim, and they celebrated each and every yom of the pagra. Isn't that a dream? And what about a greater dream? That they were so driven to do this consistently for 8 years straight. The question is this really possible? And the answer is that we believe it is. In fact, we actually have seen it happen. But we want to share with you tonight the secret how it happens. Here's the secret. A child has so many things they need to do in their life. When we made a list of tasks that a child needs to do, it equaled over 1,000 tasks a year. Many of those tasks are being repeated daily or weekly or monthly. But altogether, there's over 1,000 different tasks. That's a lot of things to do. You know, Torah, mitzvahs, as chassidim, there's so many heirais. It's unbelievable. You know, when you came home, when you got a report card from school, just imagine you got that report card. And on the report card it said, this is the mark for your child's progress in school. For Chumash, Mishnayos, Gemara, Kriya, Hanhaga, davening, they got a total of 78. What would that mean to you? Absolutely nothing. They could be getting 100 in one subject and 0 in the other. And therefore, in order to make this work, we realized if we want this to happen, we've got to break up these 1,000 tasks into several different parts. And that was the incredible thing that brought about campaigns. The same way that we can't expect a report card from all the different marks in school, we cannot expect to judge a child by their points. It will never work. By having different campaigns, we can monitor each and every area in the Avodas Hashem. We can see where they're shining. We can see where they're having success, and they see it. And that motivates them when they see there's certain areas that need improvement to improve in those areas as well. So therefore, as you will see, the entire program has been built on campaigns. Again, a division of the different areas of Avodas Hashem in the child's life. And on the screen you will see that there are, as of now, 12 different campaigns. Each of them have their own campaign logo with a special picture, and the name is underneath each one. We thought that would be enough, and then we realized absolutely not. Each campaign has its own goals and its own set of tasks for the 8 years. And what's going to happen when a child in pre-1A has 8 years of goals and tasks to do in that one campaign? They're a little child. You're going to lose them before you start. And therefore, the next thing was to break down each campaign step by step. Even within each area of Avodas Hashem, we have broken down their 8-year journey into a step-by-step process with smaller and attainable milestones. Therefore, you will see on the screen that every campaign has 10 levels. Altogether, 12 campaigns with 10 levels in each campaign. Now the question is, how does a child climb those levels? And the answer is by doing tasks, which we call missions in the army. When they complete the task, the mission for that campaign, enough times, then they will go up a level. So level 1 is the white level. We gave them colors for the younger children. Level 1, you have to do 15 missions to complete that level. After that, for the next level, you have to do more, 20 more missions to be able to complete level 2. 15 plus 20 is 35 missions in total, and the rest is pretty obvious. The orange level, 20 more missions, 25 more missions, which is 60 in total, and then it goes up to 90, 125, 165, 210, 260, 315, and 375. Yes, to reach the top of the top level, level 10, you have to do 375 missions over the 8 years. A lot of missions, huh? I would say not only a lot of missions, but a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment to be able to get there. But you can see very clearly, go back. You can see very clearly that it starts off much easier than it is at the end. You got to catch them when they're young. You got to hook them by making it a little easier. And after they've earned a lot of medals and they're determined, then you can make it harder. I want to just take a break for a second and just summarize what we've said so far so we don't get lost. We're creating a system of discipline and a system of motivation. So far, we've just focused on the system of discipline, which includes 3 parts: 12 campaigns, 10 levels in each campaign, and the missions that help you complete those levels. Is that simple? Nobody? Is it simple? Yes, sir. I like that. So now that we've established the system of discipline, now let's move on to the Rebbe's second part, the motivation. Napoleon said, a man would give his life for a ribbon. Sometimes we try to bribe our children with prizes, sometimes amazing prizes. Nothing works like the medals. And therefore, what we've done is we've taken the end of every level and made it into a milestone that we're going to celebrate. When a child completes level 1, they will be awarded a white medal for completing those 15 missions. And then when they complete level 2, they'll get the red medal, and the level 3, the orange, and level 4, the yellow, and level green, the green medal. And then it will continue until they get to the black level. And if they complete every level, they will have received 10 medals. Now, as mentioned before, there's 10 levels in each campaign, which practically means there's 10 medals for each campaign. Does anybody can work out if there's 10 medals for 12 campaigns, how many medals can a child earn? There's 12 campaigns. There's 12 campaigns, 10 medals. Yes, it's 120. Now, in order for this to work, it needs to be the dream of a child to get that black medal for every campaign. Or if they can't, at the very least, what is the highest medal that I can earn for each campaign? So, what I want to focus on and point out to you is, first of all, when you look at the medals, if you can see from as far back as there, every medal has that campaign logo on it for that set. This is the front of the lives.Some medals, and then the back shows you how many missions they did to earn those medals. Now, let's point out why the one catch, which is that every single mission counts. And here's why. To earn the black medal for lives.Some, it's going to take 8 years. And in 8 years, there's only 416 weeks. You could only earn one lives.Some mission a week. That means you have to have learned with your child, either mommy or tati, or Bobby and Zaidi have to have learned with their child for 375 out of the 416 weeks to get that medal. Now, do you think someone that did that has worked hard? I do. Let's go to another campaign, which is the Shabbos Mevarachim Tilim campaign. That campaign, you can only do a mission every month. So in 8 years, there's only 101 opportunities to be able to say Shabbos Mevarachim Tilim. And you have to do it 95 times to be able to get that black medal. Let's take another campaign, Yom Pagra, where you get you complete a mission for doing all the tasks you need to do by a Yom Pagra. What happens when the 623 special days throughout the 8 years? Yeah, we did the math. And over 8 years, they have to do 585 of them. So, in conclusion of the medals, as you can see, 12 campaigns, 10 medals per campaign, altogether 120. 9 of the campaigns are weekly, which means you can only complete one mission a week. 2 of the campaigns, Shabbos Mevarachim Tilim and V'Sayim, are monthly, which means you can only complete one a month. And Yom Pagra, where you complete one mission for every yontif. Now, how do we get this to become a reality? How do we get this to become a situation where every single child is desperate, I should say, definitely very driven, definitely very committed to earn those medals? And this is the Rebbe's brilliance. It's the rank system. Because in the rank system, you don't just get a medal, but you change your status. Till now, before you joined Hashem's army, you were a kid. Now you've joined Hashem's army, everything's changed. You are now going to be a soldier. You're a private. And after doing missions and earning 3 medals, and those 3 medals can be any color, any campaign, you are now going to change your status again to be an officer. You're going to be a sergeant. And if you do get another 4 medals, which is a total of 7, then you're going to become a sergeant major, and another 5 medals. You will become a first lieutenant, and another 6 medals. You become a second lieutenant, and then a captain, and then a major, and then a colonel. And if you've earned 52 medals, you will become a general. Now, just to put things in perspective, how long does this take? Well, most of the campaigns, it takes 15 weeks to earn your first medal. So within 15 weeks, you can earn about 12 medals. And you can actually go up 4 ranks to become in 15 weeks. it takes approximately 2.5 years of doing every single mission to become a general. And then it gets really hard because the generals are really committed, and now we can make it hard on them. So now, 1-star general, 2-star general, 3-star general, 4-star general, and 5-star general means you have to earn 117 medals, which means you don't get much leeway to get to becoming a 5-star general. Now, when we know that our good old Zushi, who was the first soldier who made it to this point, till today there's 2 who became 5-star generals. We have right now 1 4-star. There's 13 3-stars. It really is not every child that's going to be a 5-star general. But there are hundreds and hundreds of generals because that's something that's really attainable to every single child. But it really is a tremendous accomplishment when a child has earned these medals and they've gone up in rank. But if we want our children to be driven to go up in rank, then we need to celebrate their status. We need to clarify to our children how important this is to Hashem, to the Rebbe, and of course to us as their mechanchim. And when they feel this is the most important thing in their life, then the peer pressure really kicks in and the children are really driven. We do our best to celebrate their status. In HaChayil magazine, their names are mentioned. They got their picture in the rallies. Our website every night updates the children promoted that day in rank. In school, there's a rank chart. If you walk into the school hallway, you'll see that if they're a private, they're at the bottom. And if they're a general, they're going to be at the top. That's peer pressure. As the Rebbe told us even before he started Tzivos Hashem, Kinnas Sofrim Tar B'Chochma, children are naturally jealous. Let's use it for something good. And in addition to that, when a child becomes a general, we not only put his name in HaChayil, his picture goes into HaChayil. Not only his picture in HaChayil, his name is announced on the rally. And when it comes Lag BaOmer, it's the generals that lead the parade. But tonight, that's what we do. Tonight, let's focus what you can do to celebrate status. When your child comes home and they have a medal, now to earn the easiest medal, the white medal for any campaign, it's going to take them 15 weeks, 4, 8, 12, almost 4 months. If they did it 4 months straight. And it could be that they did it over a year or 2. How are you reacting to that medal? When your child comes home with a medal, how do you celebrate that in their home? If a child went up in rank and they've earned at least 3 medals, how are you celebrating that? Now when I turn around to you and I say that this week we sent out 21,451 medals, do you realize how much work and what a real round of applause the children deserve? So even if they got a white medal for Abbas Abanim, that's 15 weeks of medals. Even if they got a white medal for Shabbos Mevarachim, that's 5 months of saying Tehillim. And even if they got a white medal for Yom HaPager, that's 10 Yomim Tovim, 10 special days they celebrated. It's not easy. It's really difficult to earn those medals. And because it's difficult, and our job is to make a motivational system that has no holes, that will drive them to get those missions done and to earn those medals and go up in rank. We have supplemented the rank system, the medal and rank system, with many other motivational systems. First of all, our first supplement is that every single week there's a raffle. That means if your child did their missions on the mobile, on the parent account or on your mission sheets that week, they enter the raffle for that week. And every week there's 100 prizes. If your child does missions for 4 weeks in a row this month, they go into the monthly raffle for amazing prizes. And if your child does missions for 160 days before Lag BaOmer, they will go into the grand raffle at the end of the year with ridiculous prizes. We don't stop there. With great thanks to Rabbi Moshe and Ruti Weiss each and every year, they sponsor the creation of another unbelievable project, another unbelievable sefer for the children. And if they do just 12 weeks of missions, 12 weeks, this year, they will be receiving this beautiful gift. But we don't stop there. For every single task that a child checks off on their mission sheet, they're getting points. And your schools invest in incredible prizes that the children can buy with the points that they're earning. And it's our sincere hope that this system will bring to life the Rebbe's vision to summarize a system of discipline with campaigns, levels, and missions, together with an incredible motivational system of medals, ranks, celebrating status, raffles, the yearly gift, and miles. I sincerely hope that in Tzivos Hashem, when we use this system properly, it will give your children the drive to be mekabel oil malchus shamayim, to be mekabel oil mitzvahs, to dedicate themselves to be true chayalim, and ultimately to bring Mashiach now. I hope that you now have a clear understanding on the rationale of the system, why it was made, and how it works. That's complicated. You didn't really need to know any of that. But what you do need to know is the Ma'aseh B'Poel. And for that, I've asked one of our best base commanders in the whole world, and that's the real truth. He started later than a lot of the other schools, but took over with miles. The base commander from the school we're in today, Ale Torah, Ale Menachem. I would like to ask Rabbi Mendel Levin to please come and show us how simple it is to navigate your children's missions and your parents' account. Thank you.
Every week, we give out the mission sheets. We're going to pull up over here after Shimi's introduction of what the mission sheets are. We're going to show over here a sample mission sheet. Our dear MC, we chose his son, his account, and we're going to go through his parent accounts and his children to see how it all works. Every Thursday here in Torah, or I think most schools, we give out the missions. The missions start from Friday morning, first thing in the morning of Maidani, and it continues to the next Thursday, 7 days, Thursday night, going to sleep on time. This is a regular mission sheet, and for example, from this week. It says Parshas Vayera, but it's really like the last week's, this is the past week's mission sheet. Last week's mission sheet, Parshas Vayera, which is really from Yudalad Cheshvan, which was Friday, continues from Friday, Shabbos, through Thursday of Parshas Chayisara, Chav Cheshvan. On the Yiddish mission sheet, it says Parshas Vayera, and the week afterwards, the following week, just to show you that it's not last week, the mission should not be brought back until after Thursday night, after Parshas Vayera. When you look on top of the mission sheet, you'll see over here the soldier's name, the child's name, and his ID number, and he is right now a second lieutenant, and his picture. On the other side, he has his platoon, which is his class. He's in Kito Gimel, and his commander is Rebbe Gurkov. As we go through it, you'll see there's many daily tasks. Daily tasks that have to be done every single day of the week. Most of the stuff are very basic stuff, like Maidani, Negovasser, and as you can see again, it says it's Friday, Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for every day of the week. As we scroll through the mission sheets, which is printed out, you'll see that all of them have a campaign, have a logo next to it of which campaign it belongs to. Some of them have over here a sticker next to it, which say 5 out of 7. These ones are the ones that are more important, which ones that actually give you medals. These medals, these other campaigns just give you miles and points, which go towards the store. On average, we can get a lot of points just from every single check that's checked off over here. But then there's another thing, which is the medals, that when you do 5 out of 7 of the ones that have a sticker next to them. For example, this is the Tefillah medal, or here's the daily Tefillah medal. When you do 5 out of 7 of Kriyashma, of Cheshvan Nefesh medal, so then it counts towards 1 medal. These are the stuff that we're doing once a week. So the stuff that I've done every day of the week, and then the back page are the stuff that are only once a week. For example, you learned Tanya throughout the week, or you learned with your parents. You write over here, if it's a blank line, just write the minutes of how long you learned. Helped at the house for Shabbos. If you say saying the Nigunim, you said by the Shabbos table, and so on. This week, Thursday, is Chav Cheshvan. So this week there's extra missions for with the paragraph of Chav Cheshvan. If you notice, these logos do not have a 5 out of 7 in them because they're only 1 day a week. On the bottom of the mission sheets, you see clearly where this boy is holding. For example, you see over here chitas. It says he has 2 more to the white. That means he only did it 10 times. He does another 2 times, you'll get the chitas, the first white chitas medal. And so obviously, bottom, he's already got the white medal, and he has 15 to the red. So on every single medal, you could see where he's holding to get the next medal, and you could see on top how many medals he has left to become a first lieutenant. This is the mission sheet, which I brought back every week. And again, on Thursday, parents signs it over here. It's a very important, a tip that many parents do is they hang it up on the refrigerator every night before the kid goes to sleep. They mark it off. It adds a very big chayis, makes a cheshvan nefesh before they go to bed, and they feel very involved every day, remembering what they did that day. At the end of the week, you sign it and bring it back to school. The ideal way, really, is to bring back the missions by paper, have the kids fill out the paper. In Ali Torah, I know in many other schools, we hired somebody almost full-time just to do data entry. That's his only job. He collects all the missions every week, and he puts them into the computer. So the best is a kid brings back his actual mission sheets. Every class has a box, or every school has another way how to collect them, and you bring back the mission sheets. Since most of us have smartphones either way, and we should use that for Kedusha, so there's so many things that we could use with our smartphones. Tzivos Hashem made a beautiful website called mashpia.com. It's called mashpia.com because we are the mashpia of our children. And we're going to log in over here to a sample account. This is, again, Chani's account. And as you see over here, after you log into the account, you go to mashpia.com. You see over here, he has 2 children in Tzivos Hashem. One, it says over here that he's a second lieutenant, Lavet Shiva, and the other one, he's a private. If you click on second lieutenant, it goes very simple over here. You go straight on the bottom, you press missions load, and it goes to the daily missions. Today is Tuesday, Yud Chas Cheshvan, and you could scroll down and you see exactly what he did today. Everything was checked off. If you do something, you just check it off. If you want, you can uncheck it, as simple as that. On the mission sheets, we saw many missions had a logo next to it, which means it counted towards a medal. Here, it has a red star. Anything that has a red star next to it means that that's important for a medal, and those are extra important. You should really take care. You should try extra emphasis to do those things, as will count towards the medals. On the mobile side, it's marked day by day. If you forgot to mark a mission a day before, you go on top and you scroll to the side. It goes to yesterday's missions, the day before, and so on. If you want to mark by the week, if you want to go a few days back, you can press over here, weekly missions, and you can see the weekly missions. Anything that has an X next to it just means it was not checked off. You can check it off, and it changes on the spot. There's no save button. It's automatically saved. You don't have to send it. It's automatically done. On the weekly marking, you could also choose which week you want to go back to. You can only go back after 2 weeks back. Here also on the mobile site, another feature we have is you could personalize your missions. We have many goals, many campaigns. We go to each campaign. You could choose obviously abundant, for example, and you could choose which missions you think your child is capable of doing, or you think one mission is too much for him. You could take it off. If you're taking off missions, remember that any mission that has a star next to it is important, and you don't want him to miss out on the medals. And so, like on the bottom is bedtime. But all other things, there's so many extra missions that you can add on if you feel that will help motivate your child not to have candies. You could check off that he shouldn't have candies. You press save on the bottom. And there are actually many, many kids in Altair that do have this. They added all the personal tasks, and parents have really used it out. When you go back, that's as simple as it is. On a daily, every night, you take your phone, log into your account, and you go straight into your missions. Now again, we come back to the homepage, you click over here. While already here, they added many more features. Over here, you could see how many miles he has. So on top, it says he has 888 miles. On the top corner, you could see, again, his information, and you can edit his information. If his birthday is wrong, his name is spelled wrong, you can change that over there. So too, in the first page, there's edit. You can change the parent's profile. Here you can see in general which medals he has from every single campaign. If you scroll and click on the bottom to achievements, you see over here the rank board. Again, you see over here exactly which medals he got from every campaign. And you see which medals he's still missing. He has 1 medal for second lieutenant and 5 left to the first lieutenant. And when you press on top to the rank board, you have over here exactly, says, here it's laid out different. There, on the rank board, it's divided by ranks. Medal board is divided by each campaign, and you can click on a campaign, and it tells you exactly which medal he has. When did he earn the medal for, this one's from Rebbe, he earned this on this date, and he did 5 missions. And the next one, the red one, in the third level, it says that he has 7 missions to level 3. It's all as detailed as possible. The next exciting thing we have over here is the reward system. The reward system in all Torah and many schools, the school themselves made a store. Over here you could see the store. The store also, the kids, they get 2 ways for the points, as we said before, by marking off your missions. You get points. Every check is a half a mile. On an average week, without anything extra, a boy can get around 85 miles a week, 80 miles a week, just as a given for checking off everything in the mission sheets. Then teachers get achievement cards. Achievement cards are, every school is different. It could be 10 points, it could be 2 pointers. A kid can get 10 points, 15 points a week. On average, a boy can get around 100 miles a week from missions and achievement cards behaving well in class. A boy in the classrooms or in the hallways, there are scanners and kiosks that a boy could be scanning and his achievement cards to add them into his account. While you could also, here you have on top the scanner, you could type in the digits to his account, and here's the store. You click into, it's divided by categories of prices. You choose a prize, go to your cart, and you press purchase or press back. If it's in the cart, it's not bought yet, obviously. One last thing before we finish. When we go back to accounts, we have on the bottom, all this is till now our own news, our own information about your own child. We have here also news from around the world. Here you have news of what's happening in local bases. For example, whoever didn't know, tonight there's an event in Torah. You could come at 8:30. And also there's pictures of what's happening in other schools. This gets updated on a regular basis. On top number 2, you have here the birthdays. Every day there's announced all the birthdays of the boys and girls from the whole Tzivos Hashem around the world of whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Benny Dahan. And you have here the winners. As Shimi said before, every week there's the weekly winners. It's announced over here on the Thursday after the week. There's enough time for everyone for the paper missions to be put in also. And the last thing we have here is also the promotions. Every day, boys go up a rank, and day by day, you see which boys went up a rank today. And Malsef to Mendel Perlman for going up a rank to becoming a private, and so on. This is, in short, we'd like to call upon Yossi Brisky as a parent to speak about how he involves Tzivos Hashem in his house, and how he includes the chayil and so on into his system.
Okay, we'll try to keep it short. Basically, as Rabbi Weinbaum mentioned before, Shimi mentioned how you are the base commanders in your own home. You're the ones who make sure that the children, when they come home, are doing the right thing and keeping it exciting and fun. I tell you how it works a little bit in my house, a little bit around the Shabbos table. We use the weekly Achayol. We use the weekly Achayol magazine that comes, your children bring home every week. We have one child who reads the story that's in the front, beautiful story about the Rebbe, as well as the niggin. Usually I go over with my kids what the niggin is. I teach them the meaning of the niggin, the history behind the niggin, and then we sing the niggin. And then we have inside the Parsha Fire. The Parsha Fire is actually a sikha of the Rebbe that's broken down very clear and simple and easy English for children. So the way we do it is we give everyone different roles. Everyone says their parts. It's an exciting, fun way of giving over a sikha of the Rebbe that everyone can understand. After that, we have the roots. The roots as well is going through now from Sefer Zechrenis, now we're going over the Baal Shem Tov. Very interesting, simple. We don't always do this by the Shabbos table. Sometimes we do it later on in the day. Very interesting to go over to them. Hopefully by the end of the year, they'll know a lot about the Baal Shem Tov. Then you usually have like what's happening in Tzivos Hashem, whatever they're focusing on now. For example, now the top psukim and different things, and then always advertisements for whatever up and coming things in the back. Besides the regular Shabbos hachayos that come out, there's the Yom Pagra hachayos that come out, which have it about the Rebbeim, usually about the Yom Pagra itself. For example, the Cheshvan that you're going to be getting home. Have here the Torah, a little bit about that Rebbe, a little bit of the Torah of that Rebbe. You have a little bit of the timeline, the history of that Rebbe, and then you have the story in the back as well. Always interesting and exciting to go over with them, the comic in the back. When it comes to Yom Pagra, you want to make it exciting in your house. And by me, we put out a nice tablecloth. We put the picture of that Rebbe or whatever it is up on the table. We serve a special cereal that morning or a special supper, whatever it is, to keep it exciting. And you have all the material here to actually not just set it up nice with a nicer snack or whatever it is, but actually to go over the material as well. There's also the sikha that you can listen to every week that the base commanders send out. That you can listen to with your kids. And then there's also the Yahadus curriculum that I know my daughter Benos Menachem now is studying for the Chidon, as well as they started there learning all the mitzvahs, and I actually want to give them grace Yashikayach for them for doing that, where all the girls are learning the mitzvahs of the Yahadus, and that's great. And that's something also, we sit down, we learn it together, and it's always my older one. And then we have also, just in general, a very important thing is, like Shimi mentioned before, is the celebration of the success. I know my daughter, we're lucky that our daughter became a general. She was so excited and thrilled when she came home with that news that she became a general. Obviously, we celebrated in a big way. She ran to the neighbor. The next day, she ran to the principal's house. She's excited and thrilled, and we're excited with her, and we show her the excitement that we are proud of them going up in ring and them doing their parts, and each one of us doing our thing. We're proud of our soldiers. We're proud of it, and May Hashem will be Zeichet to greet Mashiach right now.
What we hope to accomplish tonight was to make sure that every parent left here understanding that they are the commander in their home. And if we were able to do that, to inspire, even though we weren't allowed to do that, you to turn your house from being a home to be an army base. And from you to being a parent, to being the commander, that in Mirza Hashem, we hope that you will be able to train your children to become soldiers. And most importantly, that the children will complete their mission and bring Mashiach. For the closing remarks, I ask Rabbi Chani Maleki just to close. Thank you.
Okay, amazingly, we kept to time. It's just after 9:30, and I'm just going to close out. Yesterday, when we were coming up with the final plans for today, we weren't sure how many people would show up, and some of us were more pessimistic than others, and we didn't think many people would come at all. And Shimi said, you know what, if even 10 people show up, but we really make an impression on them, and they love it, and they spread the word to other parents, then it's worth it. So we have a packed house today, and I think that everybody was inspired in a great way. And the most important thing is that everybody spread this to your fellow parents, because this system only works with a bit of peer pressure, and all of the kids have to be involved. So I think besides everything that was spoken about, I think that we should all walk away with a mission to talk about this with our fellow parents who aren't here today. I can testify, believe it or not, I only discovered this app a month ago. I didn't even know about it. And I can say that in the last month, our family life has changed. The kids have changed. They have a different kind of koch. And it's even bringing a koch to myself and my wife in the way that we do things in our family. So I don't work for Tzivos Hashem, and I'm not being paid to say this. And you can be sure there's no coercion here. I firmly, firmly believe with all my heart and all my soul that Tzivos Hashem is the most important mossad that we have in our times. I also believe with all my heart and soul that Tzivos Hashem and the program that you saw today is our best hope to keep kids frum and makusher in the next generation. And I have absolutely no doubt about this, that this is key. I also believe with all my heart and soul that the Rebbe has incredible nachas from this program, and that this program is the number one thing that's going to bring Mashiach in our times, hopefully today. And finally, I believe with all my heart and soul that it takes crazy people to come up with crazy ideas to make crazy changes to the world, which is why we're so thankful to have Shimi Weinbaum. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Have a good evening.